Welcome everybody to my two-part series, or three-part series, that I'm going to do for building a system that sets item level permissions for libraries. Now, there's two different kinds of libraries you can set up, and this first part is just going to cover the SharePoint side of it. Okay. Here I have a typical document library up, which has got straight files in it. And one thing you have to set up for this whole system is you have to have a column that determines what kind of permissions get set. Okay, so in my scenario, I have a column here that has 4 items. Okay, so if you look at I'm going to bring up the column settings so you can see what I did. Okay, so I got a column called category, which comes with every document library when it gets made. And I changed the choices from A, B, C, and D, and I just put some conditional formatting on, which is not required, not even a little bit, because it's going to read. It's just going to read the data. You don't have to do anything special with it. Okay, and that's all you need for the front side. Okay. Now, some things you have to do to prep your library for this process is you're going to go into your library settings, and then more library settings. Now, if you don't have any folders inside your document library, there's only 2 things you have to do. Okay. First thing you're going to do is you're going to go in version settings. And inside your version settings, you have a setting called require documents to be checked out before they can be edited. You want that to be turned to set to no. Okay. Because if you go to yes, and later on in the second video, you're going to see why when we're creating the flow, it cannot be set to yes, because the second we make a change to a file or a folder, it's going to check it out, which means now we have to check it back in. And I did not set that up that way, so you need to have this set to no. Okay, there's no purpose to having these checked out like this. You want, because what it does is it locks it down to one person. Okay, that's not a good collaborative way of doing this. The reason they put this setting in there is because they don't want competing changes, right? So like if someone makes a change to a thing and then somebody else makes a change at the exact same time, which one does it take? You know, if it's set to no, it'll just take it basically whoever saves last wins. Okay? If you put it on yes, it locks the file to that person and no one else can edit it until that person checks it back in. But as you know, most users won't do that because they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Okay, so once you set it to no, you hit OK. And then once you come back in here, the second thing you would have to do is dealing with document sets, which this doesn't have any document sets. As you can see, there's no content types. So we're going to skip that step and we're going to go to the third step, which is going to be setting the base permissions. Okay, you're going to set your base permissions to whatever you want. Okay, you'll see this one has everything in it, right, that it comes with. What I do is I select all of them, except then I deselect owners. Okay, you want to lock it down to the lowest permission, right? Owners have to be there to configure the library. Okay, we are going to set it so only they have access right now. Okay, and then you just hit remove. Now, if you got a designer group, like someone who actually assists the owners but they don't have full control, you can leave that there too. But for this demonstration, I'm only going to leave owners. And that's it. Okay. Now, there is another library I want to show you, which is this one right here. This one has document sets. As you can see, it's got the icon for a document set here. Okay. So, same thing. We're going to go into the library settings. Step 1, versioning. Make sure this is set to no, which it is. And then the second thing is you got your content types here, right? Now the first thing I want you to do is we need to turn off those content types because we got to make sure none of these fields are required. The content types take over that functionality, so you do not want it hard-coded to be things. So you're going to set allow management of content types to no first. Don't worry, we're going to turn it back on here in a minute. To make sure nothing is required over here. because when you go to set up your flow, if something in there is required, it's going to mess things up. Okay. All right. So that's been confirmed. So we're going to go back into advanced settings and we're going to turn this back off, or turn it back on. Sorry, which will bring our content types back. They didn't go anywhere. They just got hidden. Okay. Now you have two content types here. One says document. One says document set. Okay. The document set are the folders. The document content type are for the files. Okay. You can delete this all day want, all you want. It's going to come back the second you upload a file because it'll bring it back. So just act like it's not there. Now you can take it out of the visibility of this, on the new menu if you want. So you go change new menu button order and default content type. Just make sure the visible is unchecked. Okay. So step 2 is going to be, we're going to go into the document set content type. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure category is visible. Okay, it has to be visible on the form, otherwise this will not work. Okay, so just to show you, like right now it says optional, right? It means it's visible. So if I go into the settings and you go into the section called shared columns, you can see the category right here, right? So let's go back to our document, our content type settings again. Now let's make this hidden so you guys can see that why we have to do this. Okay, so if you mark it hidden, it's still in the content type, it's just not going to be visible. Okay, so we go into the document set settings. As you can see, it disappeared. Okay, so in order to share the metadata from your folder down to your file, you have to have it visible. So let's go ahead and put it back on optional again. And any column that you want to share down to the file level, you have to do this. Okay, so you go back to document set settings and boom, it's there. Okay, and it remembers that it was set before. So that's step 2. Okay. Now you see in the settings for the welcome page, just ignore them. The welcome page don't exist on the modern side anymore, but since it's using the settings from the classic side, that's why it's still there. So don't even, you can change them if you want, it ain't gonna matter. Nothing's gonna happen. Okay, so there's step 2. So we're gonna go back to our library settings, and then we're gonna do our permissions, just like we did on the other one. There's absolutely no difference when it comes to this. And I've already stripped down the permissions to just owners. Okay, and that's all you got to do to set up. Now, we're only using one column for this, but if you want to tier it somehow, like say you want to use more than one column, say there's like subcategories that you want to make those permissions even tighter, you can do that too. And then you just got to set it up in the flow that way. But we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to use one column, and there's just going to be 4 options. Okay. And then the other thing I want to do in this video is I want to show you how to set up your 365 groups. Okay. We need to set up 4 groups, 4 permission groups for this. Now keep in mind, I'm using Azure groups because they're more versatile and you can use them for other things. You're more than welcome to use SharePoint groups, but it makes it a little more complicated setting up. You have to pull in the ID and all this other stuff, where with Azure groups it doesn't have to, it pulls for you. So like I said, we're trying to keep this simple. If you guys want me to show you SharePoint groups and how you pull them in to permissions and stuff like that, I'll show you that in a different video. But one of you guys need to request it. Okay, so this part's done. So now we're going to go, what you're going to do is you're either going to have an admin do it, or you can do it if you have access to Azure Active Directory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the app launcher, I'm going to go into admin. This is going to take me into the admin centers I have authority over. Okay, then I'm going to hit share all, and then I'm going to go to all admin centers. I'm going to go into Microsoft Intro. That is Azure Active Directory. Okay, they just changed the name recently. So we're going to open that up. Just going to open that up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go, oh, that's really small. All right, so on the left side here, you get user, groups, devices, applications, so on and so forth, right? I'm going to go into all groups so I can see every group that's been made. And it shows it here. I don't have a whole lot. And I want to make a new group. So we're going to new group. We're going to change the group type to Microsoft 365 because we can use it creates an email address. If you do security, it has less capabilities. So since I'm using this for document libraries, I'm just going to call it documents dash and then whatever its function is, right? I'll call this test group. I'm not going to use this group. I'm just showing you that, it does. I want to create a new group. You can put a description if you want. It's not required. You leave this and you pretty much leave everything else as is because, there's nothing, you don't have to change anything. You just need to put the name in there. And at the bottom, you hit create. Now at the top here, you see successfully created group, successfully created group, documents dash test group. And if you hit refresh here, you go down, it's alphabetical. So here you see there's our group. And in here, if you open it up, you can actually go into the members. Don't sign anybody owners unless you want people adding people to this group here, okay? You add their names in here if you want, or you can do bulk upload operations within Azure AD, or Intra, sorry. I gotta get used to the new name. Now, if you are an owner, you can add people to this group without being in here, okay? The admin is the only one who's got to create the group. After that, if you're an owner, if they make you an owner because you're running the group, you don't have to use this. Okay, we're going to use something different. So let's go back into here. You click here and hit Outlook. I don't believe the desktop app can do this, but the web version can. So we open up Outlook, and then you're going to click on the people icon on the left side. And then you're going to come down here to owner. It'll show you all the groups you're an owner of. Okay, this is my tenant, so it's probably going to show all of them. Okay, so let's see here. For some reason, the document ones never show up in here. So go up top here, since I doc. Search, and it'll show all the ones that start with documents. Okay, there's our test group. So I hit it. Then you can click on members, and then here's where you can add members. Now here you have to do one at a time. You can't do bulk operations through this. Okay, so you just type in, a name. It should populate something, and you hit add members. So like if I do the search the, whoops, no, that's wrong. You gotta hit add members first. I'm in the wrong block. Go bring this window up, and then when you go type somebody's name in here, to find somebody, it'll show it. It's not working very well, but it's okay. And that's how you do it. So these 4 groups right here are the groups I'm going to use in this situation. And that's what we're going to use when we move forward into the next couple videos. So if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments below. And we'll see you in the second part.